Hey, I'm Liv. Do you enjoy having Catholicism shoved down your throat? If you do, boy, do I have a game for you. And if you don't worry, I'll act as a buffer for you today. This is Saint Kotar by The Mark. So before we get into the story here, I'd like to discuss what sets Saint Kotar apart from other religious horror. Most games and movies nowadays that are set in modern times either portray the more pious, peace and love ideas of Christianity and the church at least trying to follow in that path, or the church are the villains in some way, either to people outside of it or to the good guys inside. But this game has one of the protagonists praising the Inquisition, and this is set in the 90s. He's always judging everyone and hoping that God won't have mercy on people, and we are stuck with him for the whole game. The game eventually develops its ideas about faith in a pretty interesting way, but if this is a topic that triggers you, I wouldn't recommend playing Saint Kotar. The game takes around 8 hours to complete, and it's beautiful, the story is outstanding for reasons I'll get into later, and it goes for 25 doubloons, which, okay, it's a fine price for what you're getting, it's fine. So I think that's it, that's my foreword, let's jump into the game.
Father, please don't leave. It's dark. The witch could be hiding in here. Don't do this. I'm sorry if I have sinned. I didn't mean to, please.
Okay, we start with parental abuse in the name of faith. What would a game that features religion as a main plot point be without that? Also, yeah, the voice acting is pretty good for the most part, but the children, yeah. We light a candle down here and are spooked by our sister, and then we talk about our aunt's funeral. Also, apparently, our family is being cursed by a witch, and Benedict believes that with all of his heart, while Victoria thinks that it's just a story their father tells them so they behave. Their aunt apparently died because she lacked faith. Yeah, right. And Benedict is being punished because he talked to someone outside the family, and that's forbidden because they're evil and evil is lurking everywhere. Then Father comes downstairs and says that we must learn to be alone with God and what true faith is. And then we wake up. It was all a dream.
I need my glasses. I can't even think without them.
Oh no, the abused kid followed in the dad's footsteps. Not only is Benedict still Christian, he's a priest. I forgot what he is exactly, I guess a monk. Less than a priest since he doesn't have to walk around in the outfit. Okay, so this is not our house. From what he says, our sister rented this house for 3 nights and dragged us and her husband Nikolai to this little village called Sveti Kotar to see an exhibition at the castle. But we don't remember going, we just fell asleep and had that vivid dream. Also, not even 10 minutes in, Benedict is already saying that the house's decor is a sin, blah blah blah. Going upstairs to talk to our sister, we only see Nikolai staring intensely at a painting. Nikolai keeps asking if we saw that man on the way to this town, if he was in the train compartment, but no. He then explains that after we arrived in the house yesterday, he also inexplicably fell asleep and had a vivid dream, but his was about the man in the painting. Nikolai relived the last day, the train arriving at Sveti Kotar, seeing the locals conducting a ritual by chanting and burning an effigy, then arriving at the house, But in his dream, the man in the painting was there the whole time. He even made Nikolai give him a piggyback ride upstairs. And turns out that Victoria is nowhere to be found, and we are stuck in here. Nikolai goes downstairs to look for the key while Benedict searches upstairs. Controlling Nikolai, we find the key in this basin by the door. Just ignore the blood. Back with Benedict, the balcony door doesn't seem to be locked, more like blocked off by something outside. We grab this piece of wood which fits perfectly under the door and dislodge whatever's on the other side.
My God. Nikolai, come upstairs quickly! You must see this!
Coming! What is this? It looks like a mixture of earth, blood, and
Flesh.
Benedict just wants to get out of here. He doesn't care about his sister, he doesn't care about the tasks his superior gave him to talk to the priest of Sveti Kotar. He just wants to leave. And all Nikolai wants is to find Victoria, no matter what. But turns out that they aren't in a position to choose, since when they leave, two men are waiting for them. The detective here is looking for a woman and makes us give the key to the house to this man here, Dr. Hatur, the man who oversees the local asylum. We are then taken into custody.
Why am I being held here like some kind of sinner?
Oh my god, shut up, Benedict. It's not all about sin. In this interrogation room, we find out that Nikolai used to be within the ranks of the church, but decided to leave to marry our sister. The officer on the other side of the glass seems convinced that we know where Victoria is, but yeah, we don't, and he doesn't believe us. He also gives us some interesting insight into Nikolai's past.
His orphanage days. The mass grave they found at the orphanage.
What?
You must have heard about the witch nun from Minsk.
Vaguely. I was very young back then.
Your brother was there. You saw all those decaying child corpses in the backyard. It's horrible just thinking about it.
He also tells us that Victoria was seen at the castle last night, even though strangers aren't welcome. Someone then opens the door for us and we are taken to the Church of Mary, which was apparently built to try to scare evil away from the forest, but it failed miserably and is now abandoned. We ask the inspector, or whatever he is, why we're here, and
words are unnecessary. Light always reveals. Lights on, officer! Now, take a good look.
God!
he then describes the scene for us. Up there is the mayor's corpse. He has no face anymore, a big open wound in its place. The eyes were gouged out and eaten, parts of the brain and his heart also eaten, all while he was still alive. It's all a ritual conducted by the Mongols, or the Saborans, a tribe of cannibals who worship the moon god, Kasag, or people who wish to become one of them. Somehow they know that the mayor was murdered by a man called Niemy, who's part of the tribe, and that someone else was part of the ritual. Our sister's scratch pad was found up on the belfry. Her coat was found not far from here, with her ID and an eviscerated fetus next to it. And she was also seen last night pushing a man off the castle roof. Benedict is like, okay, whatever, I'm so done with this town. I didn't even wanna come. My superior forced me after my sister talked to him. And Nikolai is there like, I don't believe any of this. My wife would never be capable of such atrocities. And our baby is still alive. Needless to say, Neither can provide Victoria's location, so we are escorted back to town by Detective Mostov. He decides to let us go, which makes a lot of sense since this town is the size of an egg. It's not like we'll disappear in one of its thousands of streets. He warns us that Carcassa Forest and Udav Mountain are forbidden. They're the home of the Mongols and are extremely dangerous. Benedict seems more inclined to believe that his sister became a devil worshipper, but he sticks around to look for her and we split. Him searching in town and back at the house, and Nikolai heading to the hotel where Dr. Hatur resides to try and get something out of him. Starting by controlling Benedict, we talk to Ida, the shopkeeper. She doesn't have any truly useful information, but she's nice and she loves the Carcassa Forest and tells us that we're probably gonna end up having to search there if Victoria doesn't show up. Although it's forbidden, like literally by law, we can get tortured, killed, sent to the asylum, everything if someone denounces us or finds us in the woods. I think this game is scary in the same way that Outlast 2 is scary. Like, you're so far removed from civilization that you reach a place that's still in the Middle Ages and no one's gonna intervene if you say the wrong thing or are in the wrong place at the wrong time. We now head over to the house, where we meet Lucia, the owner. She's cleaning up because, as we can see, Dr. Hatur destroyed a few of her sculptures when we left him earlier today. And no, she hasn't seen our sister. But she does tell us to talk to Vera, the neighbor. She's always got her ears open. She'll probably be able to tell us something. We go over, introduce ourselves, and explain the situation. And...
Who are you?
We ask about our sister again, and she tells us that she heard her and Dr. Hatur late in the night whispering in the forest. Vera also apparently has holy visions, but she doesn't want to share them with us. She can sense that we are cursed, and then she asks us to find her former lover, Yakov Prenger, the town's former priest. He just disappeared one full moon night. Girl, okay, we'll see what we can do. Okay, let's check in with Nikolai, shall we? Here we are, the town's only hotel. Let's take a look around first. There's a maze up front, but our guy doesn't feel like getting lost at this particular time. So we go to the right, where we find a pier, a secret passage that he doesn't notice, but I know it's there. And then there's this kid, Anton. He tells us that he's fishing. His parents apparently live in the lake and he's fishing for them. He also tells us that he saw the Mongols several times, always in a boat, sailing away with Dr. Hatur. Maybe taking them to the asylum? Now we head over to the hotel, where this guy is no help at all. He says that Mr. Wild, or the King in Yellow, has to choose us. Only then can we go visit Hatur in his room. We talk to the kid again and he gives us a piece of his skin. Apparently it's the king's favorite treat and it will lure him out for sure.
Mr. Wild has chosen you.
Where is he?
You called him. He answered. You can see him now.
Mr. Wild is a cat?
Mr. Wild is the name of his earthly being. The body has an essence, a soul. That soul is the King in Yellow.
So what now?
Ask the King in Yellow. I'm just his servant.
I would like your permission to go upstairs. I have to talk to Hatur.
The king says you are not allowed. You may, though, go to his room.
What are you doing? What's going on?
I'm not allowed to see it.
Well, okay, let's go.
What is this place? It's like I entered into a hellish nightmare. And there's no going back now. How is this possible? I remember this painting from the orphanage. My father, he used to tell me I'm nothing but a sin, and called me God's degenerate. My mother, the only person who stood up for me. My brothers and sisters from the orphanage. Horrible souls deserve a horrible fate. I must be losing my mind. Mother, is that really you? Why am I seeing you? The painting from the orphanage. How did it end up in this place? Lies. In the real painting, I was standing by your side, and there were no other children. Mother?
I was waiting for you.
Demonic slave! Where is she? Where's my mother? No! Ah!
Okay, we're back with Benedict. We have an oil lamp from the house, but nothing to light it with. Vera gives us some matches though, and we share them with Lucia, which prompts her to give us this whistle as a sign of gratitude. It apparently scares demons away. It's probably gonna be very useful in this valley. We then go explore the forest, look for the spot where Victoria and Hatur talk to see if there are any clues, but...
Oh my god, this is horrible. I've never seen so many. It's a dumping site.
There's nothing here, not really. But Benedict brings up a very valid point. Why was Hatur looking for her before the incident at the castle? How did they know each other? And he also realizes that, hey, Hatur is really shady and Nikolai was on his way to talk to him. We gotta intervene somehow. We arrive at the hotel, look around the doctor's room, find the secret passage, and nothing, except that the boat is missing. We talk to Anton and he confirms that Hatur rode away with Nikolai towards Klek, the elevation where witches conducted their rituals, dancing around the 3 white fingers. He also tells us that Arsen is the only other person in town who has a boat, so he's our only hope to save Nikolai. We head towards his house to talk to him. Arsen reveals that Ivan Kotar, the patron saint of the town, was executed by the Vatican for supposedly aligning himself with the forces of evil. And also we can't have the boat, because his parents' bones are in it. Henry, the current priest, banished Arsen from the church and exhumed his parents from holy ground, so yeah, we can't have the boat. Unless we get Henry to accept Arsen back into church. But Arsen doesn't know what he did to be banished. We head over to the church and first ask Henry about Yakov Prenger, and that reveals that he was not only the priest, but also the warden at the asylum before the murdered mayor took over. The priest tells us that the Martzel family, the mayor's family, is cursed, especially because Nermin, the suspect in the ritual that just took place was his brother. And then, after beating around the bush, we can finally ask about Arsene. Apparently, Arsene keeps a pet leech, Hem, which feeds on his blood. It was born inside Carcassa, which, to Father Henry, means that it's evil. So we gotta bring Hem's corpse to him, only then will he accept Arsene back. We run back to the lake to relay the news, and Arsene doesn't take it well. He sees Hem as quite literally his own son. So we end up just finding a leech that looks enough like him to show Henry.
Hem is dead.
Proof?
Stabbed to death.
Are you sure this is him?
Arsene killed it in front of my eyes.
And now we finally get the boat and sail to Kleck. There's no one on the other boat, no one on the rocks, and a trail of blood leading into the forest.
A small window is hidden behind this bush. That's Nikolai. He's either unconscious or dead. That massive pendulum is about to slice him in two. Nikolai! Wake up, Nikolai! Nothing. He's not moving.
We grab the stake to jam the machinery and then go check on Nikolai. Soon, Hatur arrives, asking us where Niemy is and where the Sakra, the legendary black magic book, is. And he tells us that he asked the same questions to Victoria the previous night, and she refused to answer. And we don't know, so we attack him with a machete, tie him up to the table, and get out of here.
Victoria became what our father hated. I want to know why.
Well, it couldn't be simpler. The truth is right in front of you. You're just too blind to see it.
Maybe because your father was the real evil and you are too? We then confront Detective Mostov and press him to tell us the truth about the whole investigation, since he was under Hatur's thumb and everything. He reveals that Victoria had visited Sveti Kotar months prior to this visit, and that no one, not even the chief, knows what happens in the asylum. Only the warden, the staff, and the inmates do. He then tells us to go upstairs and ask for a file from the front desk, and the clerk hands us this paper from Victoria's scratchpad with her handwriting.
Et occidit et bibi sanguinem et viscera devorarit. In inferno nulla est. It's Latin, and it translates something like, he killed, drank blood, and devoured entrails. There is no redemption in hell. God, have no mercy on him. This must be the Eye of Providence.
Back downstairs, Mostov is gone. Well, in the church we meet the sister who takes care of the orphanage, and she tells us about a man called Rudolf Moisek, who used to be an exemplary Catholic, but then he changed. Then Anton arrives and pretends not to know us, and we play along. We don't want him to get in trouble. As thanks, he tells us that Father Henry is in the secret rooms under the church, accessible through a secret passage in the confessional. We show Father Henry Victoria's sketch, and he tells us that it looks like something written on a tomb, and that we should talk to Gregor, the gravedigger, and that we should never come down here. It's meant to be secret. The room behind him is where Ivan Kotar was imprisoned, and the 7 statues here outside are the graves of his 7 disciples, guarding him, even in death. Okay, we are totally not gonna get down here while you are away. We head over to the graveyard, and Gregor says that he'll help us with the inscription if we help him with something else. A body was stolen from the Merzel tomb, supposedly because the dead had goat teeth, and Gregor needs the body back. He saw the children of Moise, who lived just across the street, taking the body, so we should probably look there. The children all look half dead, their eyes and tongues having been taken from them. They talk about being safe from God and how He was a lie and only made them suffer, and Moise, on the other hand, protects them. We ask Moise about the mutilations, and he has an interesting answer.
You call yourself a prophet?
My children call me. I merely tell them what I know and guide them.
You tell them lies in a very persuasive way. What kind of monster gets people to gouge their eyes out? Oh, and I forgot. Their tongues as well.
It's for their own good.
To live disfigured by their own hand?
If they don't see, they cannot perceive the eye. If they don't talk, they cannot lure the demons to themselves. My children live without fear and are protected from the horror that is coming.
How every single relationship with spirituality is tainted in Saint Kotar, be it Christian, atheist, agnostic, Saboran, is tainted with something vile, one way or another. This thing that's supposed to bring you comfort, it's horrifying. And it's interesting how they bring this horror to pretty much everyone, not just religious people. It's very well constructed. He also tells us of a prophecy which tells that the king of the underworld is already here, and when he reveals himself with the Sakra, demons will swarm the entire world. Okay, so the stakes have escalated very quickly. We then ask about the body, and he shows us one that doesn't have any gold teeth. He then tells us that Gregor is the real culprit behind that particular disappearance, and that we should pressure him for where it is. I mean, that sounds very reasonable, and Gregor cracks like an egg under the slightest pressure. He tells us that the inscription is on a grave in the Church of Mary, reserved for those who had sinned severely. This particular grave we're looking for holds a man who partook in cannibalism and essayed his daughter. They were both executed. We then go back to Nikolai. He's woken up and finds a passage inside the fireplace. Above him there's a gruesome mass, and down below a Saboran ritual altar. We find Lucia hiding down here, and she's horrified to find a Saboran catacomb under her home. She then screams, saying that Niemy is coming. And back to Benedek, Gregor says that the skull with gold teeth is probably in that same grave we're looking for, and that Lucia is a Marzo, and that she lives in the house where Niemy killed his father, the house we rented.
Nikolai!
We find him down the secret fireplace passage, and he suddenly announces that he knows where Victoria is. Niemy has taken her to Udav Mountain, and yes, she is still alive. And Lucia is dead. He knows all this because Niemy showed up and killed her, and he was mumbling to himself and all. But when we go back to the ground floor, Nikolai says that it's very unlikely that Niemy didn't see him, and Benedek is there like, yeah bro, he's luring us there. Anyways, we have a lead in the Church of Mary.
Seems like the police just left things as they found them. Are those demon traps in the shadow of the church?
I saw them in the woods outside the watermill as well.
And pages from the Bible. What's wrong?
This can't be true. This is impossible.
Your Bible? I've never seen it before.
Oh my god. No, no, no.
What happened? Talk to me.
No, God, no!
What is that? Inside the Bible.
She did this! God, she did this! She destroyed it! Father, how could she?
Son, Do you remember your aunt?
Only her ghastly white face in the coffin.
My dear sister. She was such a beautiful woman. A perfect creation of God.
She didn't love God.
Not in the right way.
But, Father, I don't understand. What is the right way to love God?
I've always told you, the only way to love Him is to be alone with Him. God is everything, and nothing else should matter to us. When we achieve that, our faith is true, and we are fulfilled and protected from the evil.
Why have we buried Uncle this morning?
His soul could not endure the agony of his body no longer.
But why? How is that possible? He wasn't like your sister, he was a devoted man.
I know, son. Sometimes God is not enough. I could die soon, too.
You won't die. It's the sadness that's making you think that way now. Uncle is now in a better place, where shadows and witches don't exist. Don't be sad.
Oh, Benedict, you are such a good boy. Almost a man now. I'm very proud of you. You know that, right?
I'm doing my best, Father.
For centuries, we, the Dohnanis, had a tradition of passing a part of our body to the son, the eldest son in the family. From now on, you must keep it and protect it at all costs. It is part of your body now. At all costs, you must keep it until death comes.
Father? I don't understand.
It's already on your nightstand, but don't touch it until morning arrives. You promise?
I promise.
Now sleep. Get some rest. Your sister and mother need you to be strong.
Benedict! Benedict, wake up! Mother is going mad! Father is not here. He left a note. He left us. Benedict!
Benedict, are you all right?
Okay, so Victoria carved out the pages of Benedict's Bible to hide the Sakra. She did it on purpose to hurt me. She did not. It was probably her only option. She's a witch and a devil worshipper. My wife wouldn't hurt a fly. And then they continued their search. Inside the church, the altar is decorated with a fresco of the Eye of Providence. And here we get a key. We find the tomb outside and use the key to help opening it.
Keep pulling, Nikolai!
And of course, we're stuck with Benedict going down there.
It's full of a kind of powder, a yellow type of chalk, and a handful of used syringes and burned spoons. Bella Griswold. They did good to get rid of her. After what her father did to her, she would have grown up to be a monster as well.
Benedict, you're on thin fucking ice with me. Well, in here we find this floor plan of the asylum with a route marked and Benedict's name calling to him. And also the head of the gold Marzel, which we take because I kinda promised Moise I'd take it to him. I don't know, he's scary. I don't want to have him as an enemy, considering that we already have the Saborans. Back in the surface, Nikolai is gone. What a surprise. We find him inside the church, staring into the fog. Switching our perspective to him, we can see that he's looking at his mother. She tells him that Victoria and their baby are in Udav, alive, and warns him to keep the book, as it is the key to seeing her and to saving his family. Back to planet Earth, the town's coroner appears, telling us about some new evidence which shows that our sister didn't cooperate with Niemy, and she was ritually murdered and eaten by him. Nikolai obviously starts yelling, "No, she's still alive!" But then we are ambushed by Saborans. Damn, they're everywhere in the town's ranks and everything. Luckily, Father Henry comes to the rescue. Run! Back in the church, Nikolai is getting more and more agitated. There's good reason, I think. But anyways, we discussed the map we found with the priest. He tells us that there's only one way in or out of the asylum, and he strongly advises us not to be taken in because no one escapes. The other two then keep trying to convince Nikolai not to leave and to please hand over the Sakura. It must be destroyed, but he storms off, shoving a letter into our hands and saying that Benedict kept blaming Victoria for everything when the truth couldn't be farther from that. But put a pin on that because we're controlling Nikolai now. We go talk to Moise because he seems to be kind of our only hope in finding a hidden path in a mountain we've never been to, considering that he guides his children who don't have eyes. But he immediately feels that Nikolai has abandoned God, so he asks us to be one of his children. Having our eyes and tongue taken doesn't really align with our goals though, so we find another child for him.
I'm impressed.
I believed you. I gave you a new child. Now tell me where I should go.
With pleasure.
God will punish you.
Now, listen to me very carefully.
Son, I hope this letter finds you in good health. I am not dead yet. Just for a moment, try to forget what you think I did to you, your sister, and mother. Read the letter to the end, and then decide if I shall stay dead, or if you prefer to see me one more time. I have reasons why I left, but I can't finish what I started without your help. Without hesitation, pack only the essentials and travel to Sveti Kotar in Croatia. You'll like it. It's similar to Gjor. Now what follows might seem strange, to say the least. But don't worry. Just do as I say and I'll explain everything in person. Find a way to get into the Merzel's house on Gagulta Hill. Descend into the catacomb and take the book you find there. I warn you, this might sound strange and insane, but it is of vital importance that you do it, and do it right away. After getting the book, do not carry it around. Hide it somewhere in town or its surroundings. I repeat, do not take it or else you risk being exposed to its malevolent sway. Leave town and return on Ivan Kotar's Day, October 28th. Meet me at the Grimalda Castle during the exhibition on that same day. Do not forget to take the book. Everyone will be wearing masks, but I'm sure I'll be the only one wearing a yellow one. You can't miss me, son. It is of the utmost importance to go right away and to travel alone. No one else must know about this, not even your sister or mother. If you still doubt this is your father writing, then simply ask yourself, what is true faith? I can't find the right words. I can't find the meaning in this. Is this really him? It is. It is Benedict. This is his handwriting, and the words are his, and the true faith at the end. This is my father, Victoria. Mostov said she was seen in town a few months ago when she met Nerman and the cult, and then the Sekvra book ends up in my Bible. Why? And why did my father want it? If he knew where the book was, why didn't he take it? Instead, he sends me a letter to make me do it. Did she meet our father at the castle last night? For God's sake, why would she kill him? He disappeared. We thought he was dead. Now that I know it was all a lie, is he dead for real?
Okay. So his father decided to abandon his family to save this random village in the middle of nowhere? Oh my god, was he a Saboran? Did he turn to the dark side? Please tell me it's that. It would do such a number on Benedict. We talked to Sister Evelina here, and she says that Anton vanished and she can't find him. He's probably off fishing. I'm sure he'll show up. Maybe. Well, now that Father Henry is off following Nikolai, we are free to check Ivan Kotar's cell.
I was born in the year of our Lord, 1159. That I do know. Time is not my ally in this struggle. Having been kept in here for so long, I know not of times past outside this room. I am now a man changed, broken of soul, my mind is dark and stormy. I still hold God in my heart. No monster shall ever rid me of him. I accept my fate, the agony, the torture. Hear me, God. Save this town and its inhabitants. They are good people and always faithful. I am hearing voices. A consequence of my bleak thoughts. I know they are not with me. I know it is what the one inside of me wants me to hear. Kasag. Kasag is moon, god of all, god of Ahrizat. Rashahaz is trees. Ashrior is hunting. Beelzes is lost mind. Matanbal are horrors and rest. Yatka are the crows. The crows are everywhere. Nazash is blood, flesh and blood. Utaloks they call them. They're gods. The town of Sabor, settled before Christ. Sabor, the name must be changed. Sabor glorifies the tribe from the mountain. Change it. For certain it was them who came here first. Change it. Exterminate the tribe and town. May God bless my disciples. I can still recall their faces. Never will I forget their courage. They did not die in vain. Aloysie, Timote, Jeronim, Cyril, Romuald, Leonard, Liudvit. Their names must never be forgotten. The Saborans are. I have visions of their past. I know them. They were a tribe of the Scythians. A cannibal tribe with occult practices. Scythians banished them, and so they moved from the Caucasus to here. Damned is the day when they decided to settle in this region, in this valley, inside the mountain. They worship Utaloks. Utaloks are their gods. Kasag is the one god who rules over all. Other gods are princes of the underworld. Ahrizat is their kingdom. Sekvra is their malevolent religion. Their only love, death. When a Saboran dies, his body must remain intact. If so, his evil spirit in the form of a demon stays in this life, this world. If his body remains, his spirit moves on to human hosts, haunting for all eternity unless his corpse be destroyed, reduced to ashes. In 1213, we entered the mountain. We killed them all. They killed us. It was only by the grace of God I got out alive. God wanted it to be this way. The Kasag prophecy foretells. It predicted our arrival and the extermination of the tribe in the mountain. It was just the end of an age for the Saborans. But beware, the prophecy says a new age will come with the king of Saborans on earth. That king will be crowned by Kasag himself, and he will reunite all the demons and all the tribe's descendants under his sole rule. If the prophecy is fulfilled, darkness will fall upon humanity, not only over this poor valley of ours. A lake lays hidden. It lies beneath the womb in the depths of Udav, a lake of sulfur in frozen dark. Deep in this lake be souls in human form, blackened, floating about in conflagration, without weight or equilibrium, shrieking groans of pain, despair, horrifying beyond imagination.
Wow, I guess he was executed because he started to understand too much about the Saboran religion, and that started to affect him. And of course, we couldn't do without one of Benedict's comments.
Some people can only find God after cruel and unusual torture. Punishment for the life they have lived. This cannot amount to true love or pureness of faith.
Boy, I give you 4 nails pulled before you renounce God and start praising Kasag. We then take the head to Moise because he scares me, and now we go explore the castle.
Ulrich de Inani. He must have been an important person among the ranks of the Inquisition.
We then climb the stairs and someone asks what we're doing here, and now we're back with Nikolai. We indeed find his wife and baby, but tribe is approaching, we have to hide. They take Victoria somewhere else, and in her place there's Father Henry. He tells us that the Sekra was made with some of the body parts of Jadwiga Masrak, a witch who died long ago, but her presence is still felt. And apparently Niemy is her son. Somehow, I don't know, forces of evil and everything.
Where should I look?
Yakov Brenger. Benedict might know where he is.
Who is that?
He was the priest before my time.
Why would he know where to find?
Yakov wanted to obliterate Jadwiga, and for that to happen, he needed to find Niemy.
You're speaking nonsense. Where is...
He always had this fixed belief that Niemy is where the book is, and the book always ends up in the same place.
Where?
Inside the mountain, where the ancient settlement of the Sabarans hides. I was never able to find it. Your only chance is to have faith in that ground plan Benedict holds.
How appropriate. Well, then, it's time for you to go. Father, I'm taking you to town. But cold and stiff. Utaloks are rising. Doom is upon us.
Okay, this is not just distrust in the church and being in a hurry to save his wife. Something sinister is going on with Nikolai. Back with Benedict, the person behind the door was Detective Mostov, and he says that before all the Saborans were killed in Pavel, a forgotten location deep in the mountain, they used to be executed here in the castle, and that it's not safe for us. We ask why he's here, and he tells us that the body, the person Victoria allegedly pushed, was one of the Lang brothers. Two really minor side characters. What matters is that it wasn't our father as we suspected since that letter. He also tells us that he overheard people at the station talking, Saborans, and they said that one of the people to be killed in the ritual to fulfill the prophecy of Kasag is our sister. So finally Benedict is convinced that she's still alive. We leave the castle, and when we arrive at the church, there's Father Henry's body, showcasing the telltale marks of a Saboran ritual. Nikolai lies about, not killing Father Henry, and also about not seeing Victoria there. Like, what for? And we have reached the end of the rope. All that's left to try is to be deported to the asylum and try to find something there.
Ah, dear God!
Forgive me! Confess your sins!
Forgive me, for I have sinned. I had abandoned you.
Not enough inmate Nikolai! You are not telling the whole truth!
You want salvation from the stake? Tell me where the Book of Sekvra is, and I'll grant you absolution. To each, I give a final chance. Witchcraft and devil worship are your sin. Human flesh and blood you want. Denial of the divine Catholic faith has you tied to that. Your heart is as black as your craft, Necro. You have all chosen the devil. So be it. Death is only the beginning of your torment. Remember the name! Malleus Maleficarum! You heard about me. I am Ulrich de Inani, prosecutor of the Valais Tribunal. No? You've never heard of Malleus Maleficarum? Look me in the eyes, witch! Your disciples are no more. I've cast them into ash and dirt.
My kin.
Indeed, your kin. What a day. I made God proud of me. Where's the manuscript? The Sekvra book.
Never will I tell you.
Then you choose the same fate as your kin. Where is it? Copies have already been found. What makes you think we won't find the original? Save us the effort and avoid a painful death. Tell me where to find more of your kind.
Everywhere.
We razed entire towns, whole villages, lonely houses on hilltops, and when we thought there were no more, we found yet another cult. And another one. And another one. You spread like rats. There must be a hole from which the Mazrak slither from. I need to know.
Kin is here. Kin is everywhere. Kazak is everywhere.
Coming down here in your filthy cell. I didn't expect anything. No sane person would tell me the answers I seek. But I had to see you helpless, chained like the lowlife you are. Any time now, you'll be taken upstairs by the guards. Your soul, body, and religion will be obliterated for eternity. May God be merciless upon you.
Curse you, Ulrich, and your bloodline for eternity!
Benedict, wake up!
We wake Benedict up, pull him up on this plate, and then he gets this guy to operate the chains remotely and also bring Nikolai up. The man tells us that the last cell is still occupied and opens the door so we can talk to whoever's in there.
We are too late. This man is dead.
How did you get out of the basement?
What?
You finally found a way out.
I think I recognize you. Is that really? Oh my God, it is you. I've hoped so much to find you here with all my heart, but wouldn't dare believe.
You left your sister alone down there. That which could find her. Your mother. The Bible. What I did. It's all my fault. I kept you locked in that basement for too long. I'm so sorry, son.
Well, it's too little too late for apologies. The man asks for water, but when we come back with it, he's already dead. Notably, he told Benedict to have faith in people and you'll find God, as opposed to his former antics of you have to learn to be alone with God. Well, progress. He also revealed that he is Yakov Pranger, the town's former priest, the asylum's former warden, and Vera's former lover. He also points us towards Vera, so here we go to ask her some questions while Nikolai kicks and screams about Udav Mountain. She's more than reluctant to talk in front of Nikolai, but luckily he is investigating the basement. She tells us that when she was a kid, she was exploring the Merzel home. Her mom came looking for her and ended up giving birth to her sister there. And the sister was instantly possessed by the spirit of Jadwiga. Jadwiga was the one who took her eyes and tongue, and she would ramble and tell her secrets, so Varen knows a lot. But that's why she believes that she deserved the punishment, because she is the reason her mom went into the house in the first place. We then ask how to end all this, how to break the curse of our bloodline, which by now Benedict realized that they're descendants of Ulrich the Inani, the Inquisitor who was cursed by Jadwiga. She tells us that first we need to find the location of the original Saboran settlement, destroy the Sakura by throwing it in the pit we find there, then burn Jadwiga's body, which is still hidden there. Only then will the world be safe and our bloodline uncursed. She tells us to ask Elisabetta for help. She'll show us a painting that will help us find the entrance. Looking at the painting, it seems like the moon is pointing towards the lake as the entrance to the secret Saboran place. Well, what are we waiting for?
I think I found the entrance. Follow me. I'm going in.
God, where? Into the water?
Just do as I say. Trust me for once.
God, help me. Dear God.
In here we find Victoria.
Brother?
She's a living corpse. She has no face, no ears.
Then Nikolai reappears and goes full, I killed Neramin and now I'm possessed by him. Kasag, Kasag. I'll complete the ritual and become the king. So we use the whistle for demons Lucia gave us to stun him and then push him into the hole. Victoria then keeps pushing for us to leave, but we explain that we have to find Jadwiga's body first. Actually, her pleas and warnings are almost suspicious, but I don't know. When putting our father to rest one last time, we actually break the altar and in it there's the body.
After centuries of agony and death, the Dohnani family sees freedom. This knife and fire end your existence, Jadwiga Mazrak.
Get us out of here!
It's over, sister. The witch can't hurt us anymore. Let's leave this accursed place.
Can you forgive me?
Sister?
About Mother.
I should ask for forgiveness, not you. I did the same thing as father. I left. I am so sorry for everything you've been through. It's my fault. I've been wrong and blind, Victoria. I should have been there for you. Forgive me.
Shh. The question our father always asked.
What is true faith?
Yes. Well, I think you finally know the answer.
Where am I? How have I ended up here? Victoria? Are you downstairs? The last thing I remember is being with her inside the mountain. I left the house and followed the trail downhill to the sun-bathed town. While searching for Victoria, I encountered many people who made me realize what happened wasn't a dream. And I think I encountered far more than I can recall now. So I'd better start using this wall before the rest of them vanish from my thoughts. I saw some kind of prophet on the main square. He was preaching about an impending doom to a group of hideous people without eyes and tongues. When he saw me passing by, he stopped and invited the group to greet me. He said something about a head and how he'll always be grateful to me. I thought I saw a patch of water in the distance, so I headed that way. I was right. It was a lake. Someone put a grave at the beginning of a small bridge leading to a tiny island. My inner voice told me someone was behind me, and so I turned around and saw a nun staring at me. She said she still hasn't given up hope of finding a boy named Antun, and even though she is grateful for what I did for the town, she will never forgive me for lying about him. I wish I knew what I did. The nun told me to follow her, and so I did, in silence. At the entrance of the church, a young priest greeted me. He had a proud stance and white, intimidating eyes. It was a strange situation. I had a feeling he was waiting for me. He confirmed my suspicion after locking me up in this underground chamber a few hours ago. Before leaving, he asked, "Have you noticed anything in particular on your way here?" Somehow, he knew. I really noticed something that stuck in my mind. A discrepancy between people's smiling faces and their sad eyes. He acknowledged by knocking twice on the door, and then said, "Their eyes reflect their tortured past, while their faces reflect their bright future. And they have a future. They are free because of you." I became a local saint, a kind of Ivan Kotar. I'm the hero of Sveti Kotar. But painful consequences always follow great achievements. I was told Victoria's body was already cold when they arrived to save us. This drawing is how I want to remember her. She was always calm and hopeful, full of life. It breaks my heart and drives me mad when wondering what happened to her soul after they threw the body into the passage. But I forgave them, like she forgave me. My soul is being eaten, and I'm losing control of my body. His whispers have become louder and tormenting. It's Nermin, the demon that possesses me. But I will not. I cannot fall. The people of this town will save me. I know they will, because I am their patron saint now.
And that was Saint Kotar. Obviously there are other routes and endings, but this is the one I got first. I also left a good chunk of content out, so if you're still interested, please go ahead. Just one small warning. The game has one issue which I haven't seen people complaining about, this one in particular, but this game has less than 200 reviews, so not a lot of people to complain to begin with. Anyway, see if you can catch it.
How can you be so sure of her guilt? What proof do you have?
Coat? How do you know it's hers?
A coat, badly an eviscerated fetus.
You give me my belongings back?
That I cannot do.
We have to go now.
A few words of... Don't get yourself fooled by the lights you see here. This soil is cursed, and the air tainted with wickedness. I know, be wary while wandering around. Under no circumstances you should go. The moon ghouls are impossible to find, except for when it's too late for oneself. God bless you all.
Yeah, I wasn't touching either my mouse nor my keyboard there. The game just decides to randomly skip dialogue. And for some reason, it's always the important dialogue. As I said, I haven't seen anyone else complain about it, so maybe it's just a me problem. But fair warning, this is a story-driven game where the story is really difficult to follow. And it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when you see that the game has multiple DLCs, including what seems to be a demo you have to pay for. Like, make the game playable first. I really like the game. It captures the true horror of a cult, which is something that 99% of everything out there fails to do. But I really don't feel like playing a paid demo or a prologue when the story has been made pretty clear by the main game. At the same time, you gotta hand it to them, it was pretty brave to create, around 12 hours if you include the DLCs, of playable point and click in this day and age, when it's pretty much guaranteed to be a passion project and a passion project alone. And it's also amazing that the game doesn't really have any puzzles, they're all fetch quests, but the story is so engaging that you don't even realize. I hope that they make more games, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. In their website, there's a sneak peek into their new project, the name of which is still to be announced. And this was posted a year ago, so who knows what's happening with them right now. Anyways, that's all I have to say about it. I really like this game, despite its pretty big flaw. But people actually making like religious horror and cults genuinely scary is so rare that I'm willing to overlook that. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, blah 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 blah, and I'll make more videos if a never doesn't follow my head. Bye!